Welcome. Today I am here with Supervisor Chuck Washington, 3rd District of Riverside County, and thank you for being here. We have some questions for you so we can all stay in the know. So how do you feel the county is keeping up with the consistent changes of COVID-19?
Well, I've been very impressed. And, someone who spent nearly 7 years active duty military, I know about readiness and I know about what it takes to ramp up. And then, of course, my almost 25 years as an airline pilot, you don't do 3,500 flights a day around the world without some real tight organization and everybody playing their part and their role. And I think, like a lot of us across the nation and the world, we were kind of caught off guard by this very intense and dangerous virus. And at the beginning, a lot of folks were saying, "Well, it's just like the flu." Well, the flu has a fatality rate of 0.1%. And at the very least, we're seeing 1% or 2%, which is 10 or 20 times the fatality rate of the flu. So it took hold of us very quickly. And I think a lot of people were caught a little bit flat-footed. But I've been so impressed because at the beginning, I was really anxious the county to get going on this effort. But inside of a week or two, they were hard charging, growing their team, figuring out where the resources were needed. And most importantly, they were doing modeling. And I think a lot of folks think, wow, they're just guessing. Well, but there's actually a scientific way to approach these things. When you plug in numbers and you look at, the growth rate of cases, the growth rate of deaths, you can project out. If you do like a 3 or 4 or 5 day average, you can begin to project out where we're going to be in a month. And that's exactly what they're doing. And then that gives them the ability to begin planning what resources are going to be needed if we hit those projections. Now, if a week goes by and they were too high on their projections, well, that's good news, actually. But better that we are over prepared than under prepared. And so when they can adjust their projections, if it's optimistic, what we've gotten in the last week or so, or if it's worse, they can adjust the projections upward. But we have to do this modeling, and we have to tell our residents and our businesses, this is what we're projecting, and just so that you're prepared. And this is what we're doing to prepare.
Great, good. How is our healthcare facilities holding up during this?
Very good. And last week I started hearing, and we get a private conference call every morning with the supervisors and top management staff. And for those who know anything about the Brown Act, we can have that as long as we're not making any decisions based on an executive order that the governor signed maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. But we also get 2 briefings a day internally from led by our emergency management director, Bruce Barton. We get one in the morning and one in the early evening. And it keeps us in the loop as to where we're going, how we're doing, what resources we have. And now I'm talking so much, I forgot what the question was.
That's okay. How our healthcare facilities are doing.
Oh, so in those briefings, they really put into effect something that we're all familiar with fire protection, mutual aid. And in this instance, mutual aid really is I'm referring to by using that term, a collective coming together of all of our hospitals in the county and understanding what hospital beds are available, what ICU beds are available, and then matching that up with our projections then we see, okay, in 3 weeks or in 2 weeks, we're going to be this short. So we got to start rounding up some more beds. And so yesterday, I believe they put out, and if they haven't, and I'm giving you a little insight here, but we're getting the federal medical sites, FMS, built up, and they're starting to put those together now. And we're using large spaces that are available to us that may have not been available previously. There's, I believe, a Sears facility that's going to be utilized for one of these FMS. And so the county is searching around for locations where we can add, 400 or 500, maybe even 1,000 beds that we can up our surge capacity.
Great. What advice do you want to give the residents during this time of uncertainty?
I know it's hard. It's hard not being with family all the time. It's hard not being with friends. It's hard not being able to go out and socialize, go to restaurants and bars and travel. We will get those things back. They will come back. I know they will come back. But what we want to guard against is doing the coming back part too quickly, that we endanger members of our family, members of our friends, our neighbors. That's going to have a larger long-term impact on us if we try to rush this. We just have to be strong and be patient. And I think if we all do this together, we'll get to that time point where we can come back much sooner than if we're only participating halfway.
Good. How is the county supporting businesses to help them stay afloat?
So, this isn't something that would be new to the county. We've had an economic development agency for many years. Within that, we have partnerships with the SBA, Small Business Administration, and the SBDC, Small Business Development Centers. So we have someone inside of the county, our EDA director, Suzanne Holland, and one of the supervising managers, Rob Moran, are partnering with the SBDC and SBA to provide access. I just did a webinar a couple days ago on Wednesday with the regional director for SBDC, Mike Daniel, and he covers Orange County, San Bernardino, Riverside counties, and they have resources. They can step people through the process for applications for these quick loans or paycheck protection plans. So there's lots of resources out there. I know it can be a little overwhelming at times, and I would just encourage people to go to our website, the county's website, and look for SBDC or Economic Development Agency if they're feeling like they can't find what they need, or even call my office. Everybody, we put our office number out, 955-1030. People can call. Now, in my local offices, we have closed one here locally in the French Valley area because there was no way for our workers, there's no restroom internal to the facility. So they are operating from home if they had traditionally been in that office, but we're not asking or allowing people to come into the office, even in our Val Vista office or Riverside office, just because it's not safe. It's not safe for people. But other than that, if someone calls and they get a voice message, they can leave us a message, and then the appropriate person will return the call, and we can help guide them to those resources for businesses. And I should mention, my wife and I are partners with our daughter and son-in-law, and we've owned a small business ourselves here in Temecula for the last 10 years. And so this has been very hard on our business as well. Our son-in-law runs it day in and day out. He's getting a lot more time at home with family and kids, and the grandkids are staying safe, even though they look out the window and they see, other children that are ignoring the stay, the maintain your distance order. They know that if they go out and play, they potentially can bring something in to mom or dad. Mom could come over to drop off groceries at our house, bring something to us. So we're all as a family doing this together so we can get through this quickly. But we're feeling that same pain as small business owners as well. And, my wife has been going through all the applications for the loans and the paycheck protection plan applications. And I know it's arduous, but we have people that can help.
Do you have a prediction of when business will be able to return to full capacity, or how long shelter in place is going to last?
Some of those in my category, politicians, want to try to be more optimistic, but I'm of the mindset that I would rather under promise and over deliver, because I think people would prefer knowing the truth and deciding how they want to deal with it, as opposed to me telling them, yeah, we're going to be open in a week, or we're going to be back open in 2 weeks. And then they get there and they've gotten their hopes up and we're not there yet. So quite honestly, I don't see us really being able to open back up in April, and probably not even in May. We're just going to have to stick with this. You see, the schools have said, yeah, we're done for the school year. So they face that reality that bringing kids back before June would have just not been safe. And so I'm hoping that we really start seeing some glimmer of hope, by mid-May, and we can start being optimistic. We had my family, we had a few days planned for Mother's Day over in Palm Desert, and that first weekend in May, and we had to cancel that. We have a July few days down in Carlsbad, and have not canceled that. I'm hopeful that maybe by midsummer things will start looking a little better, and we can, like the turtle, stick our head out a little bit out of the shell and see what's going on around us. I'm hopeful. Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. Um, what economic resources are there in the public, for the general public, not necessarily businesses, but just the everyday citizen?
So those kinds of things are typically handled at the federal level or the state level, and I'm referring to, unemployment insurance. People can apply for unemployment, and we've seen a big spike. And I hear stories, I see stories on the news of people who've been trying to apply for weeks, and it's very difficult. The system was not designed. I mean, we've had 17 million new unemployment claims in the last 3 weeks. The system was just not designed to handle that volume. So I'm hoping that behind the scenes, the feds and the state are ramping up their resources to be able to handle more of that. On the local level, the only thing we can do is to try to provide people direction for where to go to get assistance. We do at the county level have a service that provides some sort of temporary relief for folks. It usually lasts, a couple of months. And typically, we've probably been serving maybe a couple thousand people in Riverside County. And I can easily see that going up to 10 or 15 or 20,000 people. I don't have, off the top of my head, direct links to that service, but later we can send that over to you and you can provide that to your viewers.
That would be great. Thank you. What about in public, like for food banks and homeless resources?
Yeah, so we have really pushed forward. Carrie Harmon, who runs our housing authority, has really ramped up the effort to provide more space for the homeless to get them off the street. We've had some hotel rooms that have been made available. Um, and then what was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
Food banks.
Food banks. Oh, yes. Food banks. I'm just amazed at what folks are doing out there. I mean, it really is. It's inspiring to see how people have stepped up. I know you live in the same area where I do in Murrieta and Temecula. We have food pantries that are going out delivering meals. We have folks that are getting meals from the senior centers and delivering them. Um, there's a large organization called Find that delivers in both the Coachella Valley and over in parts of my district in the Anza and Sage area. I have another gentleman who lives in Sage but delivers food in Anza with a small core group of volunteers so they can stay safe. But he is literally feeding thousands of people every month. He goes down to Western Eagle and buys food at a much discounted rate. He sent me a picture a couple of days ago to just keep me in the loop. He had to rent one of those big trailers. He filled up his big pickup truck. He's got a back seat in the pickup truck. He had that stacked up to the ceiling, and he filled up this big trailer full of food. And it just was, it was inspiring to see. And that group is called the Fun Group, and I forget what the acronym FUN stands for, but they've been doing this for a while. They were doing it for much smaller numbers, but recently they had to ramp it up. They're probably serving 5 times as many as they were, say, 6 weeks ago.
There are some really good things going on in the community if people are supporting themselves.
Yeah, we just had a Zoom meeting yesterday. I represent the board on the First Five Commission, and one of our items on our agenda, Zoom meeting agenda yesterday, was to allocate some quick funds to another group, Lift to Rise, and they're assisting a dozen or more nonprofits to help them get food out to people and give them direction for other services that may be needed.
So what do you think Riverside County will look like when we do get back to work? Will it be the same? Will it be different with the way we're all, doing business remotely, and how will that feed into it?
Yeah, there's no good news there. I mean, the good news will be that our economy is back open. But yesterday they were reporting that the unemployment rate was already up to 13%. It's going to go higher. There are businesses that probably will never be able to come back from this. I mean, we literally are experiencing a once in probably 3 or 4 generation event here. The most impactful pandemic since the Spanish flu 100 years ago, and numbers that will be close to the Great Depression. So it's going to be tough on all of us. And my heart aches for people. I have friends right here in Temecula where I've lived, who are sending me text messages. They're literally in tears because they're watching the business that they have grown, say, over the last 20 years, just winding down. They've had to lay off all of their employees, close their doors. It's going to be tough to come back. And I think, again, any politician that says, as soon as this is over, bang, we open the doors and we're right back where we were before this started, they're fooling people. It's going to be tough, and it's going to take all of us supporting. And I see a lot of folks that are still trying to support local businesses, like restaurants with takeout orders. We do that ourselves from time to time, when we feel safe. My wife and we've developed quite the little system of, maybe bring a pizza home and, we wipe off the box. We very carefully take the pizza out and put it in the oven. We figure that's going to kill any viruses. And then we, trash the box and then wash our hands very good. But it's going to take all of us helping one another, supporting our local businesses. And I think most people around here get it about local businesses. But if you've not heard, somewhere in the neighborhood of 52 to 54% of all jobs in America are created by small businesses. So, that's our bread and butter right there, small business. And so we're going to all have to work hard to help everyone get rebuilt. But it won't just happen overnight. It'll be months and months and months.
I'm going to go back one question when we were talking about the healthcare facilities. We didn't mention anything on testing. Is there anything you want to let us know about testing?
Yesterday, we did 1,700 tests. We now have 3 sites with drive-through testing. We are ramping it up. We are doing, the state as a whole is doing a pretty abysmal job of testing. When you look at the testing rates around the country by state, we're very close to the bottom. So we need to ramp that up. But within California, we are well above average. And I'll give you some examples. Orange County is testing 3,500 or has tested 3,500 people per million. San Diego County has tested 6,000 people per million. We're testing 7,000 per million. So we're well above most of the counties in our region. We're probably in the upper third of the 58 counties in the state in testing. We have a large population, and I don't know how many folks remember, but we're the 4th largest county in the state, just behind LA, Orange County, and San Diego. So we're a big county, but we've got a great staff, and they're working on ramping up more testing. And I think that's crucial to us understanding how quickly we can come back. After this is behind us, we've got to be able to test people so that we know that we can protect those who are going back to work that are not affected or have the antibodies in themselves so that we can, bring them back out into society.
Yeah, as we wrap this up, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us, Supervisor?
Did we go through all of your questions?
I think so.
Okay, well, I just want to, for my constituents, I'm proud to represent you as your county supervisor. Counties are on the front line of this fight to keep people safe, to keep people alive. And me and my team, we're working hard to try to provide people with the resources that help them do that and help them get access to resources. And I think if we stick together, and we've adopted a motto in our emergency operations center. It's, we're one county, one team with one fight. We're doing this together. And I think we'll see good results if we stick with it, till this is behind us. And I thank you for the opportunity, Diane, to share my thoughts with everyone.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for meeting with us and answering our questions and giving us some truth that we all need. At the same time, hope that, it will come back. So
yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.